Welcome to the Rock Your World Naturally podcast, the place where women from around the world come to discover God's plan for health in body, soul, and spirit. I'm your host, Recipient McMillan, award-winning author, Air Force veteran, and health evangelist. I'm passionate about sharing biblical truth, scientific research, and practical lifestyle approaches to help heal your world naturally. You're listening to podcast episode 15, my exclusive interview with Dr. Darian Parker, sports education leader, NAACP Award recipient, and co-owner of Epic Leader Management. I'm your host, Recipient McMillan, certified integrative nutrition health coach and health evangelist. My assignment to the body of Christ is to help women and communities heal their world naturally in spirit, soul, and body. If you'd like to know more about how you can heal your world naturally, you can visit me on the web at rockyourworldnaturally.com. You can find me on social media at LinkedIn and Facebook at Rock Your World Naturally, and on Twitter, RockYourWorld28. Thank you so much to all of our new and returning listeners. My guest today, Dr. Darian Parker, has been a major influencer in the health and wellness industry. His current work focuses on fitness, spa, and lifestyle treatments. And I am a huge fan of spa, fitness, and lifestyle treatments, all of the above. Did you know that spa treatments are actually mentioned in the Bible? Yes, they are. And my favorite example is found in the book of Esther, chapter 2. And because Esther was living in the king's palace, she got quite a few perks. And one of them was 12 months of pampering. And so one source says that for 12 months, each woman underwent beauty treatments and educational importance of royal matters and etiquette while they were in the king's palace. And in Esther chapter 2, verse 7, it says that Esther, she was a young woman, and she was very beautiful and very lovely to look upon. And so you might wonder, so if she was lovely and if she was beautiful, why did she need a year's worth of treatment? And so that year-long treatment, it may have been needed for some young women who had been taken into captivity at that time, because some of them may have come from a very poor background that did not have a healthy or a good diet. So they helped to nourish them back to health. Not only did they help to nourish them back to health, they ensured that they were physically healthy, mentally healthy, and emotionally healthy. And so they went through this process for 1 year long. And so another area to consider of why they needed the treatment for 1 year is because of the climate they were in at that time. And so the climate, the region of that day caused them to have very dry skin, cracked skin. And so they had 6 months of oil treatments that they underwent first. And so one of the objectives of those oil treatments was to ameliorate or to heal the effects of the heat, wind, and evaporation that actually affected their skin. And so they had an actual skincare plan while they were there at the palace. So for 6 months, the oils, they addressed some troublesome conditions, whether that was cracking, wrinkling, wind damage, sunburn, healing sores, skin disease. And so the women, they actually soaked in tubs of olive oil, cassia oil, myrrh oil. So they use these essential oils, and they also use honey to help moisturize and heal the cracks and the dry spots that may have been left on their skin as a result of the harsh climate. And so they use honey to moisturize the skin, and also because it had a very pleasant scent or a very pleasant smell. And myrrh, as we know in the Bible, that is an essential oil which has anti-aging and hormone-like properties. And with myrrh, one of the effects that it has, that it helps to stimulate circulation. It also helps to decrease inflammation. It also helps to soothe inflamed skin, prevent wrinkles, heal fungal infections. It helps to heal mouth sores, alleviate stretch marks, repel parasites and insects. And so that just came from that specific essential oil alone. So for those of you that might want to grab some myrrh, go to my website, Rock Your World Naturally, click on the essential oil link, and take a look at some of the other benefits that myrrh might have for you. And so they completed that 6 months of oil treatment, and then the next 6 months were used, or they were dedicated to being administered spices and additional ointments for the women. So in Esther chapter 2, verses 8 through 9, it lets us know that Esther, she was well favored in the eyes of Haggai. And so she received extra treatments while she was actually there under his care. And so Esther, she went through so many different rituals. She went through all of those different treatments to present herself before the king. And this year of preparation helped to lead Esther into becoming queen. And not only did she become queen, but she had great influence to save the Jewish people at that time. And so when it comes to fitness, spa treatment, lifestyle, how the Bible says that there's no new thing under the sun, truly, there's no new thing under the sun. And our guest today, Dr. Parker, he has committed his life to accomplishing this work. And just to give you a little bit of background about Dr. Parker and who he is and some of the things that he'll be able to share with you today, Dr. Darian Parker earned his PhD in sports education leadership with an emphasis in behavior modification from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He earned his master's and bachelor's degree from James Madison University in kinesiology with concentrations in exercise leadership, athletic administration, and advanced coaching. Dr. Parker is also a certified personal trainer through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Dr. Parker has received such prestigious accolades such as the NAACP Arthur Ashe Award, the Marilyn Crawford Scholarship Award, and the VAPHERD Graduate Student Award. Dr. Parker has also been featured on Fox 5 News Las Vegas and the Healthline Today Show. Furthermore, Dr. Parker has served as an advisory board member for the Nevada chapter of the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Dr. Parker has been in the fitness and wellness industry for 19 years. Throughout the course of Dr. Parker's career, he has served several roles in the fitness and wellness industry. In the academic setting, he served as the Director of Education and Program Coordination for both Professional Fitness Institute Pinnacle Career College. After working in the academic environment, Dr. Parker worked for WTS International as the General Manager for Club Ridges, an upscale private fitness club located within the gates of the exclusive Ridges community in Las Vegas. In addition to this, Dr. Parker served as the National Director of Fitness for WTS, assisting in oversight and support of WTS Natural Profile. Furthermore, Dr. Parker continues to be the private personal trainer for several leaders of prominent businesses in the United States. Dr. Parker's new venture as the co-principal of Epic Leisure Management provides an opportunity for him to create, implement, and foster the highest levels of people-centered culture while also providing the most innovative and significant technologies and services to his clients. People first is at the core of Dr. Parker's philosophy. While business is very important, what's even more important to Dr. Parker is the human being behind the business. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the show today, Dr. Darian Parker.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate the time and just grateful for the opportunity.
Well, I am excited about today's show, and I know that our listeners are going to be in for a treat hearing from you on today. And before we get started, I'd just like to open up with an icebreaker question.
Mm-hmm.
And can you just let our listeners know, Dr. Parker, what are the things in your life right now that are rocking your world naturally?
Oh, good question. I think probably the biggest thing for me is just connecting with people on a genuine basis with no agenda. I really enjoy, especially I meet a lot of people through LinkedIn and just
Mhm.
getting to know them. It's not a product or a sales pitch or anything like that. It's no agenda. It's just having good conversation and bringing that aspect of connecting with people back.
I think that is so, the fact that you mentioned that connecting with people with no agenda, because so
Yes.
many times, people have motives and just underlying reasons of why they want to get to know you. But just, again, having that genuineness, that um, real conversation with individuals makes all the difference in the world.
And the motive really is just to have a good conversation and to just be open and honest about whatever comes my way, whatever we're discussing, and just being a good source of kindness for others is very important to me.
That's very true. And a lot of times, when we just have those conversations and let them happen naturally, it just really leads to greater insight. It leads to even more connections, whether it's with that person or whether it's through someone that they know. It just kind of creates a ripple effect in a sense.
Yeah, I totally believe that. And you never know who you're meeting. You may be meeting one person, but you're meeting a variety of other people that they know along with that. So it's really just a chain of events, a chain of connections, endless of people that you can speak with and have a positive impact on their life.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Parker, you have accomplished so many amazing things in your lifetime. An NAACP Arthur Ashe Award winner. You've been featured on several news shows, to the Today Show, just accomplished so many different things. How do you manage life wearing so many different hats?
I think that initially, especially, I used to do a lot of media many years ago, and it's exciting, getting on different shows and talking about health and wellness in particular, and just making connections. And I think in my recent time, I have tried to slow my life down purposely and not do as many things, just to do a few things really well, because when I was doing so much media and doing all these different jobs and things of that nature, it was exciting, but it was just burning me out, quite honestly. And I didn't want to have that burnout. I wanted to make sure I was giving 100% to the couple of things that I'm doing versus 20% here, 30% here. It's just very difficult to be really great at many things at the same time. So it was purposeful to slow my life down as I've gotten older, for sure.
Sure. And I think so many individuals, I especially think that's true in the Western culture, that
Yes.
we are inundated with so many things, and just having the opportunity to witness as well as experience how life is overseas in other cultures and other countries. Sometimes they say, Americans, you guys are too busy.
It was funny though. I have my own podcast, and I had somebody on from the Netherlands, and they're experiencing the same thing that we're experiencing, and it's
Mm,
actually becoming a global issue that
yeah.
other countries are now becoming just as busy as we are. So I don't think it's a good thing. I think, some people will say, oh, I just like having opportunity. I love having opportunities. But
Mm.
sometimes there's just more strength and more courage in saying no to opportunities if it's going to really take away from things that are more meaningful for you in your life.
That's so true. And I think sometimes individuals, you hit on a key point where you said we have to know that it's okay to say no, and that we can give ourselves permission to say no. before we take on too many things, because I think too, when we begin to take on too much of things, that certainly does impact our health, whether that's emotionally, the stress levels that we experience, or trying to multitask with doing a lot of things. It can begin to take a physical, mental, spiritual, emotional toll on our lives.
Yeah, I think it's good to prioritize what's important for you individually. And I know for me, it was just, you know, I like doing things professionally. I enjoy different outlets and things to do, but I also just wanted to spend more time at home and enjoy being in that environment and really transferring into more of a home, kind of wherever I'd like to be environment, kind of come and go as I please, but a slower existence, one that is not filled with constant things to constantly do. Even though I still stay busy, I have made it where it's more, I'm busy, but I'm in the environment I want to be in on a regular basis, to be around my family more often and things of that nature.
Sure. And I think that's something that we can all, you know, take some notes and write that down in our own personal lives to practice that. Now, with you being in the wellness profession, you've been in there for over 19, 20
Mm-hmm.
years. What is it that actually led you down the road or the path that you're on now?
I would say first it was my parents. I grew up in a very athletic family where I saw a lot of exercise growing up. My dad was in the military for almost 30 years. So I used to watch him exercise all the time. He'd take me to the gym with him, and my mom would play baseball with us out in the backyard. And so my brother is involved in athletics. And so, sports was just a big part of our lives growing up, and traveling for sports and things of that nature. And then as I, got into high school and college, I was a track and field athlete. So I was a scholarship athlete in college, sprinter, and it just made sense for me to continue moving towards sports, exercise, athletics. Initially, I thought it'd be more athletics, but exercise was always at the forefront of that. So I think I was initially influenced by my parents, and then I just had great mentors around throughout the way. One of my main mentor that I still have to today, Dr. Chalice McMillan. We still have conversations, and I was his student in my undergrad and master's degree at James Madison University, and then I served as his graduate assistant as well. And he just gave me lots of great advice, taught me how to be a professional, focus, and continually work hard towards whatever I focused on, which in this case was exercise, health, and wellness. And so, there's a variety of other people who along the way have been really helpful for me. But I think my parents really started it off. They made it okay for me to do what I wanted to do. They haven't been parents who were like, well, you have to become this because you need to make this amount of money. I see that a lot where parents say, oh, well, don't do something where you won't have enough money type of thing, and I just think that's the wrong approach. Like, your child should do something they love, even if it will not financially make it very huge for them in their life. Let them live. Let them do what they like to do, what is they feel good about doing. It may not be their passion. Not everybody gets to do their passion, and that life's not the same for everybody on that. But as long as they feel fulfilled and feel good about it, I felt like my parents were like, they didn't try to push me towards one thing or the other. Just let me make my own choices. And that I'm grateful for that.
Oh, amen to that. And
Yes.
so, with them providing you such a strong, foundation, and just being able to influence you through their lives kind of helped you to find your place and find your purpose in life. And I think it's so important what you said, that sometimes as parents try to mold their children into what they want them to be.
Yes.
And you see this happen more often than not, that, the young people, they might grow up just fulfilling their parents' dreams, but deep down inside, they've always wanted to do something else. They've always wanted to achieve, a different purpose in life. So I think giving our kids room to grow and to be creative and to find that purpose that's meaningful for them makes all the difference in the world.
It does. And, I've known so many people that, well, a lot of parents, I think, they have this idea that if their child will grow up and they make a lot of money, that it will make them happy. Mm-hmm. And the majority of that time, that is completely false for them. Completely. They're actually doing their child a disservice by making money the center of their happiness for their adult life, versus saying, hey, yes, you may make, you just may be middle class or lower middle class, whatever. You may just be doing something. You might be a struggling artist, and it may be tough for you, but are you fulfilled in what you're doing? Do you feel like you are doing something that is very purposeful for you? And as long as they feel that, and they're able to have the basic needs in life, a shelter, and, enjoy safety, and, somebody to do some fun things here and there, that's a good life. That's a great life. I don't know why people promote that that's not a good life. It doesn't have to be super capitalistic and try to make get as much as you want. Like it's not as, I don't think we should be pushing that to people, because I can't tell you how many people I know that are extremely wealthy and they're just not as happy as you think they are.
That's so true. It's, the old saying that the grass is not greener on the other side.
Money doesn't buy you happiness. I mean, it does help, but it's also often people become controlled by it. Mm-hmm. And so then, they work constantly. The other thing is pushing people to work insane amount of hours to accomplish something that they're not even going to be happy with. Right. It's like, your life's going to pass you by either way. It's just going to the time's going to keep going. The clock's going to keep ticking. And what do you have to show for it?
Right. And I think too, we live in a society or a culture that promotes, a high level of materialism or just, achieving the money over things that have great value, relationships, things that are intangible, having good connections with people and doing what you love is really the heart of what really matters.
Yeah. And, serving other people. And I think that comes in many forms. It's whatever version of that is for you. But when you're helping other people achieve their success, it's very rewarding, very fulfilling. And if you're fortunate enough to have a lot of money and you've acquired that, then even almost a greater responsibility to help others with that. So I think as parents, I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I want her to do what she loves to do. And whatever that is, I'm not even sure what that will be, but hey, if she tells me she wants, to be a painter, she wants to be a ballet artist, whatever, sure, great, but here's the road. Here's the road that will entail for that. As long as you're okay with that, I'm okay with it,
Absolutely. And earlier you mentioned, connecting with people and just finding great fulfillment in that. And you mentioned serving others a little bit earlier. When it comes down to the work that you do, can you share a little bit about how faith and spirituality kind of help you in your current practice or the work that you're doing?
Yes, certainly. I think the biggest aspect of faith is having a center. For me, having a solid relationship, with God has been very important in my life. I grew up going to church with my parents. They made sure of that. Even when you're a kid, you might not want to do that so much. I complained like crazy, my brother and I. And then I felt like, as I became older, I think maybe like some people, you veer away from it here. You want to make your own decisions towards what that means for you. And, in my early 20s, I got baptized because I wanted to. My parents baptized me when I was a child, but I wanted to make that decision for myself as an adult.
Sure.
And I was very happy to do that. And then ever since then, it was just always been solid footing in all of I would say primarily it's helped me in business and my decision making. And what am I doing? Is this the right thing to do? Is
Yeah.
this maybe not the right thing to do, but maybe more the right thing? Am I focused on people as a
Yeah.
part of my faith? I think sometimes people get it twisted with faith and religion and all these things. They think, oh, this just so tight, there's no room to be
Hmm.
yourself, and you have to be a certain type of overzealous aspect of it. And I think you just be
Yeah.
yourself. Just be yourself, make good decisions, and be an example of that faith. You don't have to
Absolutely.
be knocking on everybody's door or screaming.
Hmm.
It's just be a good example
There you
of
go.
love, because a lot of the faith, especially the Christian faith, about love. It's
Yes.
about service to other human beings. That crosses all religions, all types of people. If you don't
Absolutely.
believe in love, you don't believe in human beings. I mean,
That's right. That's right.
so that don't care. I don't care where you're from.
That's
That's a
right.
tenet that is human based
Yeah.
more than anything.
Yeah. And I think that's so good as far as being that example that people will see, demonstrating through love, whether that's saying a kind or an encouraging word to
Mm-hmm.
someone. And I think we need so much of that today because a lot of what we may hear, whether that's through media, whether in daily life, it could be toxic.
Mm-hmm.
But, if we are the hands and the feet, whether that's in the
Right.
community, touching people's lives with that love, that might be the only love that they'll ever experience. And they
Exactly.
can know that it came through you. And it's such a powerful, powerful responsibility, I think, that we have as Christians, as believers, to demonstrate that within our daily lives.
Totally. And I think sometimes people, they look at service to others as this very overwhelming task. Like, and well, how do I contribute to this organization, or how do I volunteer, serve for that? And those are good things. But I always encourage people to shrink that down. What are you
Mm.
doing at your house to serve your family? What are
Yes.
you doing with your friends and your colleagues? Like, don't make it so much bigger than you can see yourself doing. Start small.
Yeah.
How have you been kind to your spouse, your significant other, your children today? How has your attitude been going to work? And
Hmm.
are you a light to other people in your environment? That's serving. It doesn't have to be some very formal thing or sign up for
Right.
something. I think that's a mistake for a lot of people. They think they have to do this very formal thing, that stamp of approval. I'm serving. I'm doing that. Like,
Hmm.
you don't need the validation that you're serving by some stamp of approval at this organization. Those are good things to do in
Yeah.
volunteering, but don't ignore the things that are right in front of you for service.
That's so good. I think the aspect that you bring out about serving starts at home.
Starts at home. That's the
you
best place to
know,
start.
within your environment. And that's such a great, great place to start because when you can serve and love those within your home, then it's going to be easy to do that when you're already doing it within your everyday environment.
It's baby steps. You got to start at the
Yeah.
beginning. And
Yeah.
even like my wife and I, we've been married 15 years,
Wow.
and it's been an awesome relationship. I think we communicate. Earlier this week,
Mhm.
I'm very transparent on any of these shows. I'm telling you. And
Yeah.
she goes, "Yeah, listen, I want you to talk to me more. Let's have a
Mhm.
little more communication. I know you got this stuff going on. You work from home and this and that. And her schedule was changing. So now we're kind of in sync more. And we just said,
Mhm.
let's spend more time in the afternoon having like thoughtful conversations. Perfect. That's how we're serving each other. We got to have those conversations. We got to be open. We have to
Mhm.
listen. But to me, the greatest influence you could have is the influence you have at home.
Yeah.
Yes, you can influence other people in volunteering for a Red Cross or a soup kitchen or
Mhm.
whatever. Those are awesome. I would never
Yeah.
discount that. I feel like we step over step one and try to go to step three. How
Mhm.
can I serve in this thing? And then you just
Yeah.
forget about the people that are staring at you on a daily basis when you get up.
Yeah. It's so true because it's kind of almost like you can't be so busy that you are saving others and you're losing your family or you're not
Yes.
with your family. You're not being open to know what it is that your family needs from you, as well as what you can provide to your family.
Yeah, totally true. You know, it's funny. When I was talking to my wife yesterday, I said, you know what? I think you should be on my podcast. We need to have a conversation, husband and wife conversation on my podcast, and the listeners get to
Yes.
understand what our life is like together. And
Yeah.
I am very flawed. And I want them to know that, you know, like, hey,
Yes.
I may be communicating, doing all these things, media,
Yeah.
but I mess up too. You know,
Yeah.
I could do better. And she's like, oh, I think I'd be so nervous being on. I was like, no, you'd be fine. You'd be fine, you know.
I think that's so good because, you know, in our humanity, we all have our stuff. And I'll just put this out there too with my husband and I, something that we did that we always encourage every couple to do, is know what your spouse's or your partner's love language is.
Right. Of course.
And when you can understand what the love language is and kind of help to nurture that, it makes all the difference in the world in your marriage, with your kids, with your
Completely.
family, your community, to find out what your love language is.
Totally. We've definitely talked about that throughout the years with that, you know, and I think, you know, for both of us, you know, having faith it's just been important. You know, it's like, it's a steady boat in your relationship. You know, it creates peace. I know for me, it's just made me very peaceful throughout the years, you know, and, but it's also helped me to explore other aspects of peacefulness and take wisdom from other things, from different practices of spirituality across the world, you know, for that, and then enlightenment and all these things. I think my goal is always move forward in life.
Absolutely.
But move forward with a center, not move forward just without nothing.
Right.
And I think that's important to know. But I'm just a regular guy. I'm not out here like, you know, just like, hey, doing whatever, you know, just type of thing. Like, yeah, there's a reason why I am the way I am, but it's also that I lead more by example with it. You know, that's more of my calling. Some people are called to be pastors and, you know, work in churches. Some people are called to be great bricklayers, and that's their service. That's how they serve. I think we just have this thing was we skip these steps and like, oh, you have to do this. How do I serve? How do I do that? Make it okay. You're a computer programmer. Serve in that. Be the best computer programmer you can be. Be an example of goodness, of ethical behavior, you know, and doing that. That's your service. If that's what you feel, do that. It doesn't have to be this huge thing that you're making it out to be, you know?
That's right. That's right. I did have a chance to visit your website, and I did take a look at it. It's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
And the first area that truly just caught my attention is the epic motto, where you have narrating the deeds and adventures of heroic individuals.
Yes.
So talk to our listeners a little bit about that. What's the underlying meaning of the motto?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. A lot of people like that, but like for prospective clients, they don't know what we do when they see it. They're like, I don't know, I see spa, fitness, lifestyle. I don't know what it is. And a lot of websites, you're supposed to be able to know exactly what the company does when you get on there. But we didn't want that. That was on purpose. We're very purposeful. And for us, like, we feel like our business is about caring for people, is about narrating the adventures and the deeds of the people that are in our organization. That each person's story is very important to us. And part of that motto is, other things, people first, that we want to be focused on human beings. And you won't go on our website and ever see like, oh, we have this many properties, and look, now here's a picture of a property in Las Vegas. Here's a picture of a property in California. Yeah. That's putting the business forward, like the actual property, the money in front of the people. I think we want to put the people in front, and the business part discover us, find us in the back,
Yeah.
ask questions, become curious. That's what that whole front page is, just become curious, ask questions. Now, I recognize that some people are going to be like, whatever, I don't know what it means, I'm moving on, type of thing. Well, then we weren't meant to do anything anyways, then, it's fine.
Right.
It's okay. I don't want to capture my business partner. We're not trying to capture the world.
Yeah.
Try to conquer the planet in business.
Yeah.
I think when you conquer everything, you lose everything too about yourself. And we want to remain who we are. And so we feel like our business is a way to narrate and grow and to observe the wonderful people that are in our lives.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I love that.
Thank you.
Because it's, such a people-centered approach to let individuals know that you matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you take care of individuals and when you are focused on what is important to them, then I think that your business is going to be blessed because of that, because your focus is on caring for the person. It's just inevitable that when you truly take care of people, then your business will flourish. It will prosper. It will be blessed because you're truly caring about another human being.
Certainly. And I'm under no illusion that, having this approach is creating like tons of like work for us all the time. One, we're purposely trying to be slow and controlled. But I think when you're doing things that are really good, that are really honest and are about other people, it's slow. It takes time. The blessing isn't like an overnight success. Nobody has that, that's doing something very worthwhile. It takes time to build a reputation, to get the word out, to talk about your business in a way that feels authentic to who you are. And so I would never expect that things will move fast in my life. All the good things I've had in my life have moved pretty slow.
Take time.
Take a lot of time. You want to be in a good marriage? Doesn't happen overnight.
There you
Tell
go.
you that right now.
Hallelujah.
Take some time. You're right. Boy, it takes some time. You're growing. That other person's growing.
Yes.
You're navigating different circumstances, aging, everything. And, it's bumpy. It's okay. It's just how life is,
Absolutely.
But if you stay centered during that time, you stay authentic to what is positive and good for you, and it's going to work out,
That's right. That's right. Now, with you working with individuals and having people as the core of what it is that you do, can you share a little bit about what it is overall that you provide or your services to individuals, or whether that's businesses, to our listeners?
Yes, certainly. So the crux of our business is basically we are a spa, fitness, and lifestyle amenity consulting and management company. That doesn't mean a lot, I know, to a lot of people, but let me dive deeper into it. So essentially, clients will hire us to do a variety of things, up from the concept or idea of their health and wellness amenity. And that idea could be a health and wellness club or gym inside of a hotel, luxury hotel. Could be a fitness facility, spa inside of a residential community that has access just for the people who live there. Could be a corporate campus, kind of like your corporate fitness facility. So we can do everything from the idea of those things, the concept, the pro forma or the 5-year operating plan for that health and wellness space, audits for that space, pre-open it, and also do the hiring, recruiting, and overseeing of that health and wellness space, actually managing it on a daily basis.
So it's pretty unique to everyone that you work with, based on their needs and what it is that they're looking to accomplish through their wellness programs.
Oh yes, that's what I like about it. I think it's not a cookie cutter thing. We could be working with a 2,000 square foot yoga studio, and then we could be working with a 30,000 square foot gym that has like aquatics, concierge services, food and beverage, all this stuff. And all those things require very different things for it.
Now, something else that I did see that I found interesting was the DNA fit test. Can you share a
Yeah.
little bit about that?
Yeah, oh gosh, this has to be almost a year and a half ago. So I connected with a colleague of mine who was telling me about DNA reports and how that it's kind of the new thing coming with personalized fitness, nutrition, basically running a test. You basically swab person's inside of their mouth and you send it back to a laboratory with the company, and they will basically look at the gene expressions for certain genes related to, let's say, recovery or muscle fiber type, or for nutritional things like B12 and things of that nature. So essentially giving you a personalized roadmap for what may work best for you in your health and wellness journey. So instead of it cuts down on the margin of error for people, and might say, hey, you have this gene expression shows that you have a susceptibility to ligament damage or muscular damage, or recovery is not as great. So then we can take that to the service provider and say, hey, look, here's this person's gene expressions for these particular genes, and here's how we're going to help them. Versus most services, whether it's personal training, group X, all that stuff, it's really just a guess.
Right.
It's a trial by error. It's a, hey, I'm taking this person in, I'm doing an intake, and we'll see what works for them. Because each person's response to nutrition, exercise varies based off of their genetic makeup and stuff. So it just depends.
So Dr. Parker, how can our listeners find out more about you? Where can they find you on the web?
For me, I'm pretty, I would say I keep it kind of a funnel here. So LinkedIn is probably the primary place just for me personally on there. You just find me on there, search, connect with me. I'd love to connect with almost anybody and chat with them, get to know them. For Epic Leisure Management, it's elmadventures.com, elmadventures.com. And that way you can learn all about our business, or kind of, because you'll see the front page and you'll see the narrating deeds part, and you'll try to go, what are these guys doing actually, type of thing. So, but there's other pages where you can learn about what we do and what we're up to and things of that nature. So those are the main ways to get in contact. My contact information is on there as well. So
excellent. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Dr. Parker. It has truly been a pleasure. And I pray many blessings upon your business, your family, and all that God has in store for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
God bless you.
All right. Thank you.
For health tips, faith-based education, and inspiration, visit www.rockyourworldnaturally.com and on Facebook at Facebook.com/rockyourworldnaturally and Twitter at twitter.com/rockyourworld28.